The Ohio-class ballistic missile submarine was built to destroy cities and military installations in the event of a nuclear war, or more precisely, to deter adversaries from ever starting one. However, following the end of the Cold War, the U.S. Navy determined that it didn't need all 18 of its underwater horsemen of the apocalypse for the nuclear deterrence mission. The Navy first intended to scrap the 4 oldest of the massive submarines, but instead opted to overhaul and convert them to launch Tomahawk land attack cruise missiles at a cost of $700 million each. These vessels were redesignated as Ohio-class guided missile submarines, or SSGNs, intended to deliver conventional attacks on targets on land. The Ohio and Florida began the nuclear refueling, overhaul, and armament upgrade in 2003, and were back in service by 2006, while the Michigan and Georgia followed in 2008. The Ohio-class SSGN bristles with more conventional firepower than any comparable vessel because its 24 88-inch diameter missile tubes were originally designed to carry enormous Trident ballistic missiles. 22 of them were refitted with Tomahawk launch canisters with 7 missiles each for a total of 154 Tomahawks missiles, all of which can be ripple-fired from underwater in the space of 6 minutes. This is likely to be a heavier cruise missile armament than an entire surface task force. The Tomahawks, which each cost more than $1.5 million, are capable of delivering a 1,000-pound warhead to land targets as far as 1,000 miles away, guided via GPS. This, incidentally, means that Ohio SSGNs are carting well over $200 million in missiles when fully loaded. The Ohio SSGN is also a multi-mission craft. The remaining 2 launch tubes have been converted into special undersea locks for deploying more than 60 Navy SEALs on special operations. The tubes can also launch underwater unmanned vehicles, SEAL delivery vehicle midget submarines, sonar buoys, and other aquatic sensors. The nuclear-powered submarines were soon performing more conspicuous operations than their Trident-armed cousins. In 2010, Ohio, Florida, and Michigan all participated in a show of force in reaction to a Chinese missile test, surfacing separately off of Diego Garcia, the Philippines, and South Korea at roughly the same time. In 2011, the U.S. of Florida launched 93 missiles targeted at Libyan air defenses in support of Operation Odyssey Dawn, all but 3 of which hit. The missiles helped clear the way for the warplanes of the anti-Gaddafi coalition to begin operations over Libyan airspace. This marked the first occasion in which an Ohio-class submarine fired in anger. What purpose do these cruise missile-launching behemoths serve? Why not use surface warships to launch the long-range Tomahawk, or even dispatch carrier strike planes using much cheaper precision-guided munitions? Quite simply, the stealthy SSGNs can get closer to enemy coastlines without being detected, enabling them to hit targets further inland and to deliver a massive missile strike, while exposing themselves far less than a surface ship or aerial strike package. Deadly new long-range anti-shipping missiles, such as the Russian Kalibr cruise missile, which can be fired from land, air, or sea platforms, make littoral waters perilous for large surface ships, such as aircraft carriers and missile cruisers. Even carrier-based aircraft would require the carrier to sail within 800 miles of a hostile coastline, within striking distance of a variety of carrier-killing weapons. By contrast, nuclear-powered submarines are extremely difficult to detect and track thanks to the very limited noise produced by their nuclear reactors and their ability to remain submerged for the duration of an entire long-range mission. An adversary would have difficulty detecting an Ohio SSGN before it launched its missiles, and after doing so, the submarine could dive deep and run silent to evade retaliation. In fact, the national interest contributor Ben Ho-Wan Bain has already described how Ohio-class SSGNs could be used to kick down the door by suppressing anti-aircraft and anti-shipping missiles in a first strike, paving the way for aircraft and surface ships to exploit the resulting gap in an adversary's defenses, a role the U.S. of Florida played in the Libya intervention. The Ohio SSGN's awesome firepower, however, will only remain in the U.S. Navy for around another decade or so, at which time the entire fleet of Ohio-class submarines will be gradually replaced with the new Columbia-class ballistic missile submarines.